Hey kids, I know it's been a while since we've seen each other, but I'm excited that we get to start having Kids Quest again. We are going to do Kids Quest and, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce. This is Sylvester Q. Sloth. He's actually kind of shy, so he keeps hiding his head. But he wanted to be with us on the lesson today too. With Kids Quest, we like to go on a journey. It's not really a safari, but we're going on a journey through the Bible with all of my explorers. So explorers, it's good to see you again, and I hope that you get to join me every week. If you do, and you either tell me on Facebook or you send me a letter, I will put your stars in just like we do when we're at church. And you can get your credit. I'm going to be sending you some activity papers and some other little surprises that go with our lessons each week if I have your address from Kids Church, from Kids Quest. So I just wanted to let you know that I haven't forgotten, and you can still get your prizes and still advance your rank as explorers. So today we're going to talk about our Easter lesson. How many of you know what Easter's all about? I know when I talked with some of you at church, you knew it was about Jesus, and that's really good. Some people think it's about the Easter bunny and it's about eggs, and those are fun things for Easter, but that's really not what Easter's all about. But Easter is a really, really important day for us as Christians, and we need to know what it's all about. Now, you know Jesus came to earth as a baby, but just like all babies, he grew up. And then he started preaching, and then towards the end, when he was about 33, some people got really, really mad at him. So they turned him over to the Romans. And the Romans were really, really mean to him. They beat him up. That's not very nice, is it? They made him hurt. They beat him all up, and then they did something even meaner, and they did it because their boss told them, and they thought their boss was telling them that Jesus was a really bad guy, and they didn't bother to check it out. They just listened and did what their boss told them to do. So they beat him up, and then they put him on a cross. And they made fun of him, and they teased him, and they treated him even meaner. And the whole time he was up there and hurting, they were just really, really mean to him. But Jesus didn't get mad at them. In fact, he told God to forgive them for the way they were behaving because they didn't know what they were doing. Jesus is a very forgiving, loving Lord. No matter how mean these Roman soldiers were, Jesus still said, Lord, forgive them. You know, sometimes people do things to us and that really, really hurts, but God wants us to forgive them. And we need to follow Jesus' example because none of us have been beaten up and hurt the way Jesus was hurt, and he actually died on the cross. But then when he died, something really scary happened. The whole sky turned black, and people were scared when it turned black like that. And the Roman soldiers even said, he really must have been the Son of God, like he told us. And the ladies that knew him, they were very, very sad, but even they were afraid when the sky turned black after Jesus died. But then when Jesus died, they had to take him down off the cross anyway, and they carried him over to the tomb. Now, we may not know what a tomb is today, but it's where they would bury people, but only the really rich people got buried in a tomb. So they carried Jesus over and they put him inside the tomb. But then the people that had him killed were afraid that somebody would say that Jesus rose from the dead, because Jesus said he was going to, and they're like, we don't want that to happen, so we're going to put a big rock in front of the opening, and then we're going to put Roman soldiers in front of the opening right by it to make sure nobody can take Jesus out of there. So they put 2 big, strong soldiers right by it to watch it all the time, to make sure nobody could take Jesus out of there and pretend like he was alive again. Well, then this happened on Friday, and we call that Good Friday, when Jesus died. Well, then on Sunday, the ladies that loved Jesus so much went to take care of him. So they came over, and when they got to the tomb, the rock wasn't in front of it anymore. The soldiers were asleep, and there were angels standing there. And they told the ladies, he's not here. Jesus rose from the dead. And that's what's so important, because since Jesus could rise from the dead, we get to live with him forever if we tell him, Jesus, forgive me for all the bad things that I've done, and I want to be with you. And then Jesus, after we live here on earth for a while, will take us to heaven too. And while we're here, he helps us. He helps us to know what's right, what's wrong, how to be a good person, but he also helps us to know about him and to love him, and that's what's really important. Jesus did something really, really big and important for us. He got beat up, and he got hung on a big wooden cross, and he died, but then he rose from the grave. So he went through all of that just because he loves you, he loves me, and he loves Sly. Okay, Sly's a little shy again. So, when you talk about Easter tomorrow and somebody tells you it's all about the Easter Bunny and it's all about finding eggs, you can tell them you know what it's really about. It's about Jesus giving up his life and dying for us and rising from the grave so that we could also live forever and that he loves us. So I hope that you join me next week as well, and make sure that you look for those packages that I'm sending in the mail to you, and you work out your activity sheets and you send them back to me. Love you guys. Share. Oh, and make sure you share the video with other people, with other kids and your friends, so they can see it. If I see other friends, you tell me you've invited them and they show up, I'll give you extra points for that too on our board to get your extra points, because you're still going to get your safari hat and your vest and your binoculars and all those other things that we've been working towards. I'm going to keep track of it, and when we get to be back together, I'll give you all those things. All right? Love you guys. Come back and see me again next week.